I got 2 minutes.
That clock's not right.
I'll tell you what.
I'm missing 2 board members. Oh, there's one. Where's Matt? Yes, we have a brief attorney-client privilege. Hopefully it'll be brief.
Open it up.
Um, d- Well, we're still missing Matt, but I can call Craig up.
Matt's up there.
That's over there.
Oh, Matt's over there. Who am I missing? Hi, Matt.
Your deputy?
You way down there? Oh, my deputy. Oh, that's all of us.
Oh, that's right.
Paul's not here tonight. All right, everybody. Good evening. Thanks, everybody, for coming out tonight on this really nice summer evening. First, I want to point out that there are 2 exits back there. That one goes directly outside. That one, of course, the way you came in, goes out into the hall and out. This, you can go out and go through my office and get out into the hall. That's a closet, not an exit. So on our agenda tonight, our first item is a presentation by the Global Foundries Town of Malta Foundation.
Excellent, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, board members. My name is Admar Samito. I'm the HR director and HR leader for Global Foundries here in Malta, and I recently joined the Global Foundries Town of Malta Foundation as its board president. It's a pleasure to be here with you this evening, and I want to recognize and thank the board for all your support and your cooperation with Global Foundries, and certainly with the board, Foundation board over the years. I'm honored to be joining the foundation as its new member, and certainly honored to be joining a foundation that has had such a positive impact in our community. The foundation has awarded approximately $1.9 million over its lifetime, and we look forward to opening up a new grant season and awarding more monies to our local communities here in Malta. Today, I'm pleased to announce that the grant season will open up on Monday, September 9th, and run through October 31st of 2024. We anticipate that the foundation board will announce the awards sometime in early to mid December. Again, I thank you for all of your support to both the board and also to Global Foundries, and I look forward to working with you as a member of the foundation.
So I also am glad to join as a member of the Global Foundries Town of Malta Foundation Board. I'm Karen Hagan, and I've had the distinct honor and privilege to serve on that board since it was first conceived. This is our 14th year of grant cycles. So I come with a little bit of background and knowledge, having grown up about a stone's throw away on Colomer Drive just a few years ago. But we're also joined tonight by another one of our board members, Woody Sloat, who is also a member of the Global Foundries Town of Malta Foundation. And we have a 5th board member who is also a representative from Global Foundries. Unfortunately, she could not make it to this evening. But I just want to reflect a little bit about the kinds of grants and what we're looking for in a grant application. The bylaws, as this organization was founded, are to look to seek to give grants to organizations, primarily not-for-profit organizations, that make a substantial impact on the citizens of the town of Malta. When the zoning was changed and when the Global Foundries project was approved, the Global Foundries provided seed money of $3 million for the foundation. We are all very proud to say that as part of our duties and responsibilities as board members, that we have invested that money, and we currently sit with a corpus of well over $3 million, having also given out $1.9 million. So the gift that is Keep on Giving is doing just that here for the citizens of the town of Malta. We look forward to grant applications from all walks of life. We regularly see some from the municipal community within the town. We've seen grant applications from the school districts, from our emergency services groups. We've seen them from our senior citizens. We've seen them from organizations that provide all kinds of benefits to our citizens. And we hope that this year's grant cycle, which we anticipate will probably be in the neighborhood of around $150,000 we give away each year, will put us over that $2 million mark. And I think that that is a real tribute to the first Global Foundries for providing that money, but also the foresight of the town board that was in existence back when all of this occurred, looking to find that gift that keeps on giving. So we are excited and look forward to getting lots of grant applications and celebrating in the month of December and passing those out. So thank you for your time tonight.
So first of all, thanks so much for the work you do as a committee. It's an all-volunteer committee. And thank you for the stewardship that you've provided for that foundation, because without good management, we wouldn't be the gift that keeps on giving. So thanks so much.
Very good. Have a good evening now.
Okay, next we have a presentation about the Kramer Woods Apartments. It is Colton Hill from the BDC Group.
Let's see, nothing yet. It's fine. Oh.
Well, maybe we have a presentation.
Not mine, that's backup.
Okay, good.
Just clicking over to mine.
There we go.
My name is Colton Hill with BDC Group. This is going to be a little bit different presentation that was just in front of me.
You're not giving away any money tonight?
No, unfortunately, we're not. So I represent the ownership of Kramer Woods Apartments, which is right down the road here on Kramer Road. It's about a 30-year-old apartment complex comprised of 8 4-unit buildings. Given the current growth in the area and the surrounding areas with the new apartments online, we've kind of ran into some challenges with our attempt to revitalize and renew our property and invest into the property. And just the cost of goods, and with the current rents and what you're seeing out in the community now with the new product, it's very difficult to compete with a 30-year-old product that was built, to different standards. Given that those parameters, what we'd like to do is we'd like to gauge the temperature of the board and see if there would be an appetite towards a change in zone on this use or on this project. This is a PDD that was granted, again, over 30 years ago for apartments. And we've been kind of analyzing the dynamic of the environment with the real estate market and the cost of housing. And we said this might be a good opportunity to be able to come to market with a product at a more cost-conscious price. New housing out there is coming in the tune of $400,000 to $500,000 for a basic house. These units were built as if they could be condos. They're about 1,500 to 1,700 square feet, 1-car garage, 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath. And what we'd like to do is, and we understand there's a lot of challenges that go with this, the Attorney General's office, legals, HOAs, creations of different CCAs and HOAs and associations and rents and all that. But what we'd like to do is potentially convert these to condos from apartments. And actually, let me just switch the slide here. Just go backwards a little bit. The development conveniently was designed originally kind of with this intent. As you can see, there's a common road. Each building is 4 units, and each parcel has its own septic system. We were recently approved through Saratoga Water Service to extend the main through this district, or through this road, and provide municipal water to these buildings. And the way that you see it now is how it would be subdivided in the future. Just a little location. There's some images of inside the units. We've been going through and updating it as we can. But we feel that if we could convert this to a condo and in a for sale product, we could offer something in the price range of $300,000 to $350,000, which would be an affordable product to the general population in the area, where some people can't come into the market at those $500,000 price points. I mostly hit on all this. So just in summary, obviously, we're not putting anything to vote right now, but I just wanted to present this so that people could understand what we were going to potentially come to the board with and see if this is a fruitful effort or if this is something that we foresee as very challenging and hard-nosed. I just would like to kind of get that opinion up front before we went down this path.
So just so everybody understands what they're asking, they're basically requesting that we review the existing planned development district and amend it to allow
For sale.
these to change into the condominium of ownership. I have one question, well, two actually. So you do intend to hook up to municipal water,
Correct.
and I know that the county sewer is on the corner there. And what about the county sewer?
So we reached out to Saratoga County Sewer District Number 1. They would be willing to entertain hookup. Obviously, there's a whole process that goes with that. Given the terrain and the elevations here, would likely have to be force main grinder pumps, individual grinder pumps at the units. And I don't know, and Bill Bills was supposed to let me know, would this require a district extension, or is this already in the district? So I'm still looking at answers for that.
Okay, I mean,
But-
because that's an important piece for me, is
Yeah.
if it could be hooked up to the county sewer and as well as the municipal water.
Right,
Do you know,
municipal-
they're in
sorry.
our water district, right? Yes, okay.
Yeah, so we went through that whole process of coming through Little Drive. We got approval from Saratoga Water Service, and if it is possible, it's more marketable to be hooked up to municipal facilities.
So you have wells there now?
Correct. So currently, there's a series of wells that fills a holding tank
Yeah.
with a piping distribution system underground. So what would happen is we'd have to basically decommission that once this system was brought in. And we would backfeed the building. So there's a 1-inch service, an 1.5-inch service to each building. And we'd basically disconnect the piping distribution system that's in there now and hook up to the municipal service.
So when you connect to the water district, you're gonna pay that extension of the lines out of pocket, right?
Correct. That's all on us. And that was all discussed in the I didn't put it here, but we have full approval from Saratoga Water Service, and the town voted on that.
Okay.
Mr. Hill, I just confirm, you want to change the 32 apartments to 32 condos and sell them.
Correct.
How many people are currently living there?
There's 32.
32 units are occupied.
Correct. Yeah, 32 are, correct.
So
Yes.
the public
What
knows
would
this,
happen?
this is already built. There's not new construction, just changing.
Yes, it's already
What would
built.
happen to those residents?
This process is going to take some time. So as we go through, the way that we thought about we would do this is upon lease renewals, we wouldn't vacate all 32 units at one point. It doesn't make sense or it's not feasible. So as lease renewals came, we would find the oldest units that haven't been renovated. And once those people have non-renewals, we'll renovate. And after the renovation, we would sell. So we kind of started the process now is as people do non-renewals, we do the best we can at renovating. But we haven't gotten into windows, doors, and roofing because those are major construction items. So what we would, like I said, what we would do is we would wait for non-renewals to come up.
On average, how many non-renewals do you have a year?
We turn about 30% of the units. people, you know, want to find home ownership, they move out of the area, they want to upgrade.
So feasibly, in a 4-year period, you believe everybody would be a non-renewal?
Correct. And that's about what the absorption would take, we feel.
How much do you charge for rent there?
Some of the older units are around $14.50, and some of the, you know, cosmetically updated units are in the $15.75 range.
And how many square feet?
About 1,700 without the garage.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there any other questions?
No questions? I mean, what do you think? Is this something that we're willing to entertain? Do you need to think about it more? I mean, to me, if in the end it creates a more affordable ownership product, and then that's reasonable. And of course, the connection to the municipal water and sewer, you'd end up bringing a little bit of sewer down
Kramer Road.
down Kramer Road, where I know that there are other residences between Kramer Road or between Route 9 and Kramer Woods that are having some serious septic issues, so.
Yeah, we did this once in Half Moon, and Saratoga County Sewer, what they like is as you cross properties, they make you put in a future connection.
Right,
Hookup.
right.
Even if those residents don't elect to, the hookups will be at the tax
Right.
parcel.
Would the current residents be offered an opportunity to lease or to own or rent? to own?
Absolutely. I mean, it'll be a to the market MLS listing, so everybody has the right to purchase. And we'd clearly love to, you know, the easiest transaction would be to just go right from a rental agreement to a for sale agreement.
Thank you. I might have 5 more in me. I think it's a great idea. No new construction. Owners want to change it from apartments to condos. God bless them.
My biggest concern is, I think it's a good idea. My biggest concern is, though, you know, you have 30% a year, I'm just concerned about, I'm assuming you have some tenants that have been there for a very long time, and if given a choice, they don't want to leave.
I could run the rent roll. There's definitely nobody original per se, but in that price point, we've seen very few stay more than 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
It's a stepping stone.
How long is your longest tenant?
Oh, nobody's there original. I'd have to double check right now. 4 years maybe. And you know, we do have a concern about, you know, the financial investment in the water system. To recoup that, the rent increases will push us out of the price point where we are right now.
I think it's a good thing that you're coming off that well, because who knows what's in them. You're expanding that out, sewer, water. The biggest issue that I have is the people that are in there transitioning out is not going to be an easy task for them. I would just try to make it as simple as possible and give them a first crack at it. If not, then on their way, so.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like you're planning on putting anybody out on the street.
With 4-unit, I mean, if this was a 32-unit single building, it would be a different
Right.
story. We'd have had a different conversation. But with 4 individual units, I mean, even at a 30% turn in 4 years, those are vacant as they are.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? I mean, it sounds to me like we're willing to entertain
Okay.
PDD amendment.
I'm not ready to make a decision, no. I think it's a good idea. I'm not saying no to
Okay.
it either.
All right,
I don't have anything against it at this point. So I'd say consider it, yeah.
well, All right, we'll see what the next, we'll talk with planning and see what the next steps would be.
All right, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Okay, with that, we'll stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll have a moment of silence afterwards. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will entertain a motion to accept the town clerk minutes from our August 5th meeting.
So move.
Second?
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I don't really have any correspondence to report. Did anybody else get any correspondence that is worthy to remark on? Next, we'll have comments from town residents. I want to remind everyone that this is not a question and answer period, that if you have questions that you want answered by this board, if you send them to us in advance, we'll try to answer them. And please, when you come to the podium, say your name and where you live.
Thank you. Looking forward to the agenda on Miller Road traffic study. I'm not going to get way into it here because I know that's coming. But just a couple things from the conclusions. Although the posted speed limit on Miller Road is 40 miles an hour, the observed operating speed is closer to 50 miles an hour. So just want to make sure that got on record. And then within one of the other conclusions, it reads, the town has requested a reduction in the posted speed limit from New York State DOT. So one thing that's been circling around here is the whole jurisdiction on changing the speed limit. I gather from you guys that you think you need New York State DOT to do it. I don't see the certainty on that though. And I feel like this has come up multiple times. I don't know if you guys have looked further into it since the last couple of meetings we've talked about it. I'm not sure if Steve can help with that. But what's the regulatory jurisdiction on this? There's, in the news, Hochul passed something that allows towns to change speed limits. What about that? Can we do that? There's other towns doing this?
I can answer that question. Assembly, Kerry Warner and Jim Tedesco, they kind of teamed together, yes. There was a law passed where towns could set their own speed limit. Right? It's about 2 pages. I can look it up here and find it. On the second page at the very top, it says you must do an engineer study that's got to be presented to the Department of Transportation to make a determination. So when they say that the town can set their own speed limit, however, you need to get a safety study, a safety engineer, and approval from Department of Transportation. So, I mean,
Okay, so it's rooted in state regulations right there.
yeah, I could,
I believe you, I
I'll
trust
try to
you.
find, I'll try to find it. but
Okay,
I've
that's
seen-
helpful, I appreciate that. Okay, so I would,
Well, if I can clarify, Malta has a similar law that was adopted many years ago, that's already on the books, that has been put out to the public previously, but it's the same procedure and process. It still does involve DOT, and it has to be built according to DOT standards. And the second element of that is that from DOT regulations, if the town decides to set the speed limit on one road, according to those regulations, they need to do it for all roads. So it's a very expensive proposition for any municipality to decide to take over that from the New York State DOT.
so that's a Malta rule. If Malta decides to do it for one road, they need to do it for all.
No, it's a DOT regulation that says, fine, if you're taking over the roads, then don't come to us for your traffic studies and your engineering, and all that's on you.
Okay,
On the town roads only, right?
Yes.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Anybody else?
Hi, I'm Larry Halloran from Woodfield Homeowners. I'm the president of our homeowners association. We have a piece of property that is adjacent to our neighborhood that looks like, well, obviously it's being developed. We have no idea what it is. There's lots of thoughts and ideas and words going around through the neighborhood, but I figured I better ask the town. Can you tell us what's going in over there?
Right now I can't, but if you'll leave your number with the clerk, I will call you tomorrow with more information. I think if it's the property you're talking about that's on Route 9.
Right, all they just removed all the
yeah,
stumps.
I do know that because I asked the question myself. Right now, there is no project. They got a
Alright.
soil disturbance permit, so they could, take the stumps and things out, but there's no project proposed for that site
There
right
is
now.
Okay.
No project in the works yet.
There's no project that has been presented to our planning staff yet at all. So, unless it happened today, and I don't think so. So,
Okay,
my guess is they're clearing that, obviously, to market it. So,
okay, as I said, the rumors just float
Yeah.
through the whole neighborhood,
Yeah.
and it's just not reliable, so,
right,
all right,
right now, there's nothing.
Thank
I'll
you.
make a note to, when I see something, to make sure we let you know.
I'll do that, thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes, let me just answer, not your question, give you information. From reading the bill, no such speed limit shall be established except in accordance with the engineer considerations and factors for speed limits set forth in the New York State Manual of Specifications for uniform systems of traffic control devices, as such as the manual specifications may be amended from time to time. A lot of jargon there, but it says that it has to go to, nothing contained in this act shall be deemed to alter the authorization of the Department of Transportation to establish maximum speed limits. It goes to them. And depends who does that study and who pays for it. If we ask the Department of Transportation to do it, it could take a long time. Or we could pay for it, and then we have to pay for it from here on in. It's kind of like a disclaimer. And even though if we do a traffic engineer study, it goes to the same desk, and it can still get denied. Just because you do an engineer study does not automatically deem it passable. Still got to get, they do it, we do it, goes to the same desk with that person with the stamp to say yay or nay. Hope that answers your question.
Any other public comment? We will move on to comments from the town board and department heads, and I have several things. First up is kind of a new little thing. We're going to try to highlight some of the departments within the town of Malta to give you some idea of what they do. And first up this month is our buildings and grounds. But basically, buildings and grounds is responsible, as you can see there, for town maintenance, park maintenance and restoration, town property landscaping. And this year, they've done a lot of things that are, kind of interesting and new. What you see up there is the Story Walk. So in our ecological park on Malta Avenue, the Town of Malta Global Foundries Foundation actually provided a grant to our Parks and Rec to be able to put these permanent storyboards up. So they'll periodically change the story, and you'll walk along the path, and there'll be a story along the way and maybe some fun stuff to do. But they also, along that path, spread a bunch of mulch to make it safe and easy for the families to enjoy. And they've been working on, so that actually was a different one. They installed some fence and cleaned up an area of vandalism, basically, in the Round Lake Preserve, the Round Lake Preserve is a property that we manage together with Saratoga Plan. And they then have been working diligently as they can, down at our Saratoga Lakefront Park. Again, trying to put up some fencing to delineate our borders, and They took down a bunch of trees recently. There were quite a few dead trees there that need to be removed. They took down everything that they could, and they've helped with trying to solve our drainage problem, which I think we have solved. They still have a lot more work to do down there at Mangino's, at our lake park, but they're moving it along, and we hope that by spring, we'll be able to, maybe I'm optimistic, that we'll be able to actually have a passive place for our residents to picnic and enjoy the view of the lake. So if you see a member of our maintenance staff out there working, tell them thank you. They're doing good stuff for us. So next I want to give you all an update on a couple of issues that were going on at Steeplechase Apartments. You may recall that a month and a half ago, 2 months, I don't know, time goes by, we had a hearing to address some non-conformance, some inconsistencies with their fire suppression system. They were using a substance in it that was no longer allowed in New York State. So I'm happy we gave them until August 30th to rectify the situation. I'm happy to report that they finished that probably 3 weeks ago. So that's been solved. On the other hand, there are 2 buildings at Steeplechase that last week didn't have any water for whatever reason. It turned out to be a faulty a brass valve that was original that failed. They have hired a contractor to solve that. Last I knew, they were working on it. I don't know if it's been solved, but they were providing water and other sources, other vacant apartments for the affected residents, and then, of course, the clubhouse. So that's that. Next, I've had a lot of, several inquiries about the Maltaville water update. As you know, in addition to buying Saratoga Water Services, we're building a small water system down in Maltaville, and it's been a time-consuming project. It was delayed a little bit. We expected to have gone out to bid already. It was delayed a bit by our engineer, Catherine Sira from CT Mail. We had trouble getting pricing from vendors, so she's been frustrated, but now she has all of that done, so we actually expect to go out to bid on that shortly, and hopefully a spring-summer construction of next year. So that's been a long time coming. One other thing to note on that, just to keep you all informed, we require a bonding of $360,000. So we actually are going out to bond. We're combining that bond with the bond for the Saratoga Water Services. It saves us money, so that's always good. Last are a few fun things to just announce. On September 7th is the Malta 5K, sponsored by the Roundabout Runners Club. This is an annual race. It's a 5K, 10K actually, through the tech park, including you get to go by the front of Global Foundries, which everybody doesn't have a lot of access to. It's been a very successful race for the past 10, 12 years. All of the proceeds from the race go to our first responders, the 2 fire companies, Malta Stillwater EMS, and veterans groups. So it's a great day. It's a great race, and it's a great benefit. After you get done with the race, then you can go over to Shenandoah Creek Park and enjoy all of the activities for Malta Community Day. And it's really, that again, real fun day. Parks and Recs works very hard to get it out, and maintenance, they're there. And there's the activities for adults and children of all ages. And last, we are going to have you may or may not know, we have a piece of metal from the World Trade Center out here in our Veterans Park. And so this year on 9/11, we want to do a short, brief observance of 9/11. The plan is to start at 8:30. Few people will speak, and if you know of any organizations or anybody that was there that wants to participate, then have them reach out to me, and then we'll have a moment of silence at 8:46 when the first plane hit the North Tower. So that's all I have. Anybody else? Nothing to share? All right, we'll move on. We have one action item tonight. We are, we need to appropriate funds from our building and infrastructure reserve to pave part of the community center parking lot. It'll be the part that's by the old part of the building, so as you first go in, the lot is deteriorating, and if we don't do it soon, we'll lose it and have to completely replace it. So this resolution appropriates the funds not to exceed $46,000.
You need a motion?
Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, another item in our discussion items, which is kind of a long time coming, is we did receive from Labella our, the Miller Road safety audit that we contracted with them to perform a while ago. We have Jesse Vogel here to answer any questions that the board may have. And basically, it, you know, it does indeed say
I'll try and just fill in the gaps rather than go through the entire report. But yeah, we did take a pretty comprehensive look at the Miller Road, in its entirety, in response to safety and the speeds and bicycle and pedestrian connectivity. We did traffic data collection in June while school was in session. We found that although the posted speed limit is 40 miles an hour, the average speed is 43, and the 85th percentile speed, which is the speed that most people are traveling at, is 49 miles an hour, close to 50. Included in those counts, we did include bicycles and pedestrians. We saw about 14 pedestrians and 2 bicycles over the course of a 24-hour day. We then took a look at the traffic control at both the Rule Road intersection and the Glen Eagles Boulevard and Ivy Court intersection. We compared those to the manual on uniform traffic control devices that was mentioned earlier, which is the standard for how to implement signage and striping federally, and then the New York State supplement. And it provides different warrants analyses for converting from the existing 2-way stop control to an all-way stop control. We did find that based on the limited sight distance coming out of Ivy Court and Glen Eagles Boulevard, as you're looking west, the road kind of curves up, which blocks your view, and it doesn't meet the guidance for what you would need for stopping sight distance, so a vehicle traveling along Miller Road to be able to stop at that 50 mile an hour speed. If vehicles were traveling slower, they would be closer and likely meet the guidance. But because the sight distance is one of the criteria for installing a stop sign, we think a stop sign is a good improvement there. A stop sign is going to be posted higher up than a vehicle driver's eye, and so it'll be more visible. Also with that stop sign, we would include a stop ahead sign to draw attention to it. They would have flags for the first month to make sure that everyone's aware of the change. In addition to the stop sign, we evaluated the pedestrian crossings and again compared that to the MUTCD criteria. Guidance said that you could stripe a crosswalk with the stop sign. Without the stop sign, you wouldn't necessarily want to do that because it would be considered an uncontrolled location. And again, with the visibility issue, it could actually create a less safe situation. So altogether, adding the stop sign and the crosswalk would be an improvement over there. And with that, I'm happy to answer questions from the board.
The interesting thing to note that I noticed in this is if everybody was traveling at the posted speed limit of 40 miles an hour, that it actually meets the sight line criteria.
Yeah, that's correct. So,
Yeah.
and, you know, I think speeds play a really important role, obviously,
Yeah.
in the safety and,
Right.
you know, what you can do. And, you know, similarly, the posted speed limit, you know, that just having a posted speed limit enables different types of treatments to get the speeds more in line. So I think I would be interested to hear how the department, you know, responds to the town's request as well.
I mean, did you find any other sort of mitigation efforts that the town can make to help slow people down?
Yeah, so the first one that I would have recommended would be those driver feedback signs, and happy to see that they are already out there. And so, you know, seeing the posted speed limit and then the feedback sign that tells you how fast you're driving. You know,
Those are meant to be temporary on Miller Road, but.
yeah, I would probably encourage the town to try and keep them if possible, because they are good at reducing those top level speeds, bringing them more in compliance. We did take a look at some other traffic calming measures, you know, like speed humps potentially. Because the speeds are so high over the posted speed limit, the guidance would recommend against that currently. So really anything that can be done to bring speeds down and the posted speed limit down, that will open up more opportunities.
Seeing that the safety study is complete, I want to thank you. It seemed to be very thorough. I brought up a lot of questions, and they answered them respectfully, even though I didn't always agree. But seeing that the safety study is done, I find it would be a really nice gesture for the developer in that area to help fund those stop signs in the crosswalk. I don't know if he plans on it, but I'm sure he will hear me very clearly tonight. So thank you.
Anybody else? Well, I got one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Clarification, I'm looking at, you know, the document, first line, first paragraph. LaBella Associates has completed a safety audit. This is a safety audit. And in this document, you refer to at least 5 times where an engineer study indicates or needs to be done to do something. So in your definition, do you consider this an engineer study as per what the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices define as an engineer traffic study
For a speed limit reduction,
for, is this
or
for any traffic control device per the manual, this audit, is it considered a traffic engineer study?
yeah, so I would consider that, yes,
Can you
particularly.
resupply this to us with the proper heading on it, then instead of an audit, so we can send it forward for a request to the Department of Transportation? So we start plopping down some, I'm all for putting stop signs and things, but when I see safety audit here, and in your document, you reference, indicate should be a safety study at least 5 times, I'm confused.
So it's the difference between the audit and the study that you're confused about. Are we using those terms interchangeably?
I would believe so.
Well, that's
I
a big
will-
belief, we don't know.
Yes, so everyone's aware, I'm a transportation planner. I was working with Tom Johnson, who is the traffic engineer on the study.
Well, listen, I hate to say
will-
that we're paying you guys to answer that question. Please come back with an answer.
Absolutely, we'll confirm
Thank
with
you.
Tom. I don't believe it would be an issue, but I'll certainly confirm.
Might be back at square one. Not that I said that I could do it for a lot cheaper. But anyhow, if you could get that answer for us before we go, and let's just say we do call this an engineer study, all right, per the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, and we submit that, and maybe Roger can jump in too. Is there a checklist? Is this suffice for a request? And again, the request goes up and still can be denied. Am I right or wrong?
My request would come from the town board. One concern that I have is you've got crosswalks going to no sidewalks, right?
There is a sidewalk on Ivy Court with a landing pad, and we're only proposing a crosswalk on the west side to tie into that existing sidewalk.
There's no sidewalks on the other side, so you got a crosswalk going through grass.
We included in the concept plan, we're recommending putting another landing pad there as well.
Okay.
Again, I'm all for making this happen, but I don't want to get, keep on stumbling down the road here when, I'll be the first to say, and it sounds like we're still at the junction of knowing the proper steps and what we need to do and what documentation needs to be presented, and someone give us a straight answer. And I've been searching, I've been researching, but it's not spelled out. But I'll defer to you to tell me if this is, at a minimum, first step, if it's a safety study or just a safety audit.
If this study, if this is adequate to satisfy,
No, he says it here,
yeah.
I will
safety
confirm,
study,
but
safety
it
audit.
is a study completed and signed by a traffic engineer, and it does meet the.
Certified
overall-
license.
Yes, certified
Traffic engineer.
licensed traffic
Per
engineer.
the law that you're going to get when you give me your email and I'll send it to you.
That's why it was a little bit more costly, yeah. He's licensed to do this.
Any other questions or comments from board members on this? All right, well, once we get that answer back, we'll decide how to move forward with the crosswalk. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is the couple of things to discuss about the purchase of Saratoga Water Services. We have with us tonight our counsel, Bill Ryan, who has worked on this with us for the past couple of years. We also have joining us in the audience our soon-to-be water superintendent, Gene Marcotte. You want to wave your hand, Gene, so everybody knows who you are? There he is. He's going to be our water man, assuming this all goes through. Gene also currently works and has worked for Saratoga Water Service for 37 years, and he is a licensed operator that we need, so we're very, very grateful that he's decided to come to work for the town of Malta. First item up is the Water District Ordinance, and I want to apologize to the public. Over the weekend, I put together a summary of both the ordinance and the intermunicipal agreement that did not go out into the public until this morning. I shared it with my colleagues over the weekend, but I didn't want to bother the town clerk on her weekend to put it up on the website. So I have asked that she leave it up for a few days, so if you want to peruse the summary and not have to go through the entire ordinance, it's there for you. So I did this in an effort to really make sure we could have a meaningful discussion tonight about it. This is a draft ordinance. We, on September 9th at our meeting, we will start the CEQA review. We have to, first thing is that we have to declare ourselves as lead agency. And then on 9:30, we'll do the review, and we will have a resolution to hire employees to our new water department. And so that's kind of the process. So do you want to, anybody here have any comments to begin with? I guess I can do a little bit of a summarizing for the public. Taking over the water system, since we have no water department, we have no water ordinance, so we have to draft and pass an ordinance. This ordinance will require a public hearing. So at our 9/9 meeting, we'll also schedule a public hearing for our end of September meeting, whenever that is, I just said, 9:30. So just a couple of things about it. Any construction or extensions will have to be reviewed by a licensed engineer. Applications will need to be made in writing. Temporary connections by contractors will have to be approved by the town, the department, and all the costs associated with hookup and disconnecting will be borne by the contractor. The department reserves the right to refuse any applications that are for uses other than normal domestic uses. Everything needs to be permitted. The new construction in the district. So if you build a new home and you're in the water district, you'll be required to hook up to the municipal water. Say that 10 times fast. Any water main extensions for new constructions will be paid by the applicant, so the contractor. And upon completion, they will have to give that infrastructure to the town at no additional cost to the town. And the applicants will have to install and pay for everything to and including the curb stop. That's where you hook up from the street to your house or residence or business or whatever. The cost from there to the home will be borne by the homeowner. Let's see, what else do we have? The curb stop's the exclusive use of the department, so nobody else will be able to access it. You're not gonna be able to shut your own water off. Any repairs from the curb stop to the residents will be borne by the resident. We reserve the right to restrict water uses during a drought. We're developing regulations for the installation of irrigation systems. Capital costs will be evaluated annually and paid by the property owners within Malta District Number 1, both for improved and unimproved parcels. So the capital charges are going to be borne by everybody in the district, whether you're actually a customer of the water or not, whether you're a user of water. And the capital charges will be, contained on your January tax bill. Also, the town reserves the right to evaluate the operation and maintenance expenses year to year. And users will be billed quarterly. There is one thing we have to decide about that, but wait till we get down to the quarterly billing thing. There will be a minimum charge. We're going to use the minimum charge, basically the same formula that Saratoga Water Services now employs. And that is based on 9,000 gallons of water usage. What that $9,000 represents is half of the average usage of 200 gallons per day. So if you only use 50, you're going to pay a minimum charge. So we will have fees for permitting. The permit fees will include connection fees, so there'll be a fee for and these fees are as yet undetermined. They'll be part of our fee schedule that we'll have to adopt and amend. So there'll be a fee to connect. There'll be fees for seasonal shutoffs and reconnect. There'll be a fee and a cost of the meter and inspection fees. And again, these will be updated in the town fee schedule. The town board determines the water rates, and in order for us to change the water rates, a public hearing will be required. And we have it so that the town board has to approve any out-of-district users. The department won't be able to make that determination by themselves. It'll be by written agreement with any of the out-of-district users. And so that also could be, we'll have to decide about whether or not we're going to sell water to companies that fill pools. They would be an out-of-district user. We plan to bill residents quarterly, same schedule the residents are on now, March 31st, June 30th, September 30th, and December 31st. Right now, Saratoga Water Services bills their corporate customers monthly. We have to decide whether or not we're going to do that. I mean, the reason they do it is because the corporate customer could have significant water charges. I mean, apartment complexes. It's a big bill, and it would help our cash flow even a bit if we made a determination to bill corporate customers monthly. And they're going to be, as it is now, there's a 1.5% penalty for late payment. We intend to keep that. And there will be, the town of Malta doesn't intend to actually turn off anybody's water for non-payment. We will re-levy the arrears to their tax bill. If it comes to that, it'll be an additional $100 charge for the re-levy. And we won't accept any partial payments. The only other thing to note here quickly before I let, Bill answer any questions or I'll answer any questions, is that this water district is only the users of Saratoga Water Services that live in the town of Malta. There are about 147 parcels that live in the town of Stillwater, and they will be addressed in the next item on our agenda, the intermunicipal agreement with the town of Malta. So that was a lot, download in a couple of minutes, and anything you think you need to add, Bill, or?
No, you hit it all, actually. Actually, I have a question. So to clarify, I don't know if this is the right place to have it, but if the district expands, for example, say the firehouse has to have water up on Route 9 up there, what is to state the fact that they are going to actually pay for the infrastructure extension? Is it here or is it elsewhere?
Well, just let me review that. I want to make sure I understand your question.
Yep.
If there's an extension to the water district, you want to know who pays for it.
Yep.
That is on the developer who's doing the extension. In the case that you cite, it would be the fire department.
Okay, how, seeing the fact that they're in the water district now, what's to say that the district is not gonna pay to extend that water up to the firehouse?
I don't, are they in the district now or not?
They are,
They are,
but they don't have water.
but they don't have water. This
You said the
problem
fire
comes up
department
over
pays.
and over and over. They said that they had started applying for their application for water through Alex. Therefore, they had to be included in the district as of today. There's a few areas in town that are gonna have to have extensive extensions to hook up, but they're in the water district now, and I want something in writing that states the homeowner or the corporation has the full burden of all construction fees.
That isn't here. That
It's a little bit vague, I thought, but
Well, can I respond?
yeah.
It's in there, but if you want stronger language, I can certainly edit it. And the other point that would need to be made I would anticipate that even if the property owner is within the district, then there would be some type of engineering study in the form of
They'd have to have it anyway.
map plan and report that would outline that.
I just want to make sure that the district itself is not paying for their water extension
Understood.
going forward.
I'd like to discuss point 14, that there would be a minimum quarterly charge based on 9,000 gallons of water usage. I don't have my previous notes from the numerous meetings we had, but I'm recalling that the minimum use fee was going to be done away with in lieu of the debt service fee that we're now imposing on people.
No, they're two separate things. We're gonna bill people quarterly for the operations and maintenance, anybody that actually is on the system. But everybody in the district will pay the debt service as a tax.
Correct?
So as a user, there'll be a minimum fee.
I remember clearly being discussed that that minimum fee was going to go away because people are going to be having to pick up the debt service fee.
I don't recall ever having that
Fee is part
conversation.
of their water anyways,
Right,
water bill,
it's just,
not the bonding.
if you only use 25 gallons a day, you'd pay a
Then we can
minimum.
get rid of it.
Well, then you might get a bill for
Well,
$10. This minimum actually reduces the minimum. Right now, Saratoga Water Services is 4806. Based on our reduced rate, this minimum would be 39 something.
that's right, it was slightly lower.
Yeah, so it's lower because of the cost of the water. Yeah, so the minimum fee is half of the average daily usage. And, and then based on our rate, so. I don't recall ever having that discussion. Julia's shaking her head. She doesn't recall having that discussion.
I'll refer to
I
my
don't know,
notes.
Bill?
Either way, I'm against a minimum.
I don't recall that either. Except that the bonding and the debt service were totally separate
Separate from-
issues
right,
from the
from the
cost
usage.
of the water.
Right.
That's fact.
Correct.
What else? Anybody else? Anything?
I got a minor one, number 11. Who determines what a drought is? Is that the state determines, is there something official besides just us saying it's a drought? I just think that
I
drought
think
needs to be.
common sense, Mr. Ricky.
No, I'm just being a pain in the butt right now.
I would think common sense.
So I deem it a drought right now. No water. There you go. We
Oh,
got an
there you
answer.
go.
Go ahead.
Let's have.
Basically, we know what the normal, ground levels are, static levels in our wells are. And we know what the maximum drawdown there can be. So basically, you just have to pick a number from static level, which is the well draw, not pumping any water. And then maximum drawdown, you pick a number in there where you feel safe. You're not gonna start drawing out.
So you're picking that number.
Yep,
Thank you.
he's deciding.
Right now, yes, I have 50.
Oh, I'm so thank you. I didn't know. That's why I'm asking.
At some point in time, somebody else here might pick that.
No, you answered my question. Thank you.
Drought here doesn't mean the same situation in the town next door.
So
Ju-
it's-
ju- Just another couple points. I am drafting regulations now for the infrastructure. And what I've done there is, I've spoken to Mr. Natoli, who represents Saratoga Water Services, about the infrastructure and what needs to be in there when you have a developer come and ask you what needs to be in the ground. So that's being done now. I mean, the most important point is to first get the ordinance adopted, and then during the interim between now and the 30th of September, I'll be finalizing those regulations. And the other point, you mentioned this during your presentation, Cynthia, was irrigation. I've been reviewing other policies from other towns about if you have a subdivision that wants to get in the district, what type of irrigation system they should have, and the type of infrastructure for that, and the type of heads and the type of monitoring that goes into it. So I'll be presenting that to you for consideration as well.
Yeah, because we have had a discussion in another matter about sprinkler heads having to have basically a gauge that monitors
Right.
how much water it's had, so they don't automatically come on and water during a rainstorm.
And I also have, when you do have a developer come and ask that question, seek that type of information, I have a plot plan that your building department can work off of to indicate all these items.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
So the changes that I think we've heard tonight, I mean, I still support having a minimum charge for low users. I don't know how the rest of you,
You know what, the water, I mean,
yeah.
they've always had that anyway, so.
Yeah, I don't know a municipality that does not have a minimum charge.
Yeah. And then some stronger language about extensions and making sure that, you
The
know,
applicant pays.
the applicant pays.
Within the district.
And then the only other change is, I think our comptroller will agree, that we will bill corporate customers
Monthly?
monthly.
All right.
Commercial properties, commercial properties. That's what I meant.
The other thing that Steve brought up today, do you have right now an ordinance on water?
No,
So this will be,
the first,
they're not repealing anything.
right, yeah,
right.
we're not repealing anything. There is no other.
All right, good. And I'll
And then
revise
this,
that and send it to,
so this water ordinance, though, will this will also then apply to Maltaville when we have Maltaville?
that's correct.
So we won't have to go through this again,
No.
And any future extensions as well,
and future extensions.
if any.
Okay, anything else on that? Well,
Wait a minute, though.
I'll wait as long as you need.
Sorry. Some of the fees here do not apply to Maltaville, though.
Oh, no, this is not, none of this applies either. Well, the fees might, the minimum
It's
usage.
going to have its own separate ordinance then, right?
No, that's what we're saying, this ordinance, because it's all general, will also apply to Maltaville. So they'll pay a 1.5% penalty, and we'll bill them quarterly and all of that. They'll have to pay from the curb stop to their house.
Which is in there.
Yeah.
Anyways,
All right,
as long as the figures are the
Right.
same. I
Well,
don't have an issue.
Maltaville, right now, as I understand it, is being, the water's coming from Saratoga
the
County.
water's coming from Sarah, so the price of the
So-
water will be different.
Right, from the county, so
Right.
they wouldn't be subject to those fees if they ever were merged and, or we combined them.
Right.
or
Consolidated.
Consolidated, thank you for the word, then they would be subject to our ordinance and pay those fees.
Okay, oh, okay.
Right? Is
All right.
that, Bill?
Well, you know, the thing that, getting back to the question about the fees for Maltaville, the ordinance in front of you now does provide that the town board is going to set the fees every year in November, and that would be the process that you would follow with other water districts as well that aren't under the umbrage of Malta Water District
Right.
Number 1.
Because if our cost of water is probably higher anyways through Saratoga.
Yeah, I have no idea.
So,
And then there's probably debt associated, I don't know anything about
There
it.
is debt.
So, I mean, you have that to consider as well, but that'll be done by board resolution.
And that was all in the map plan and report for the Maltaville Water District.
Yeah.
So,
separate.
separate.
Now, you had also said that the two bonds are going to be merged.
She went out for bonding for both together, the
Together.
14.3 million for Saratoga Water Services purchase and the $360,000.
Is that common
For the-
or is it?
So with this particular purchase, since we have such a large bond for Saratoga Water Services, such a
So you're gonna
small
just-
bond amount for Malta Water is actually going to indicate, or hopefully indicate a better interest rate for a smaller one, you know, hopefully coming out.
Okay.
So
It
we
makes
save money on the smaller one.
Yeah.
Because we merge it with the bigger one. Anything else? Before I flip us over to the intermunicipal agreement with the town of Stillwater. As I said earlier, we need to have an intermunicipal agreement with Stillwater because they are not in our district and we can't tax residents of Stillwater. So the draft intermunicipal agreement has a few things. Obviously, I said it's necessary because the current Saratoga Water Services customers aren't in Malta Water District Number 1. Approximately 147 customers in Stillwater. The town of Malta will still own the system and be responsible for the maintenance of the system that's in the town of Stillwater. Any same sort of criteria with us, any future capital expenses or construction requires oversight by a licensed engineer. The plan right now is for, Malta will bill the Stillwater customers for their water consumption, same as we're gonna bill our Malta customers, until such time as a master meter is installed. And if we install a master meter, which it's kind of undetermined whether or not we'll actually do that anytime soon, then Malta will bill Stillwater and Stillwater will bill their residents instead of us billing them directly. So we retain the right to change the cost of the water annually. Any non-payment for water consumption, we can't re-levy Stillwater residents. So if we have somebody in Stillwater that doesn't pay, we'll report that to Stillwater, who will re-levy it to their tax bill, and then they'll remit that payment back to the town of Malta when they're reimbursed by Saratoga County. And we're gonna bill Stillwater directly for their share of the capital expenses, the debt service, and then they will institute the tax. So Stillwater will pay us their part of the debt service, and they will then bill their residents on their tax bill for that. How'd I do on that one, Bill?
Good. We've had many meetings with Stillwater here, and today, this afternoon, I don't know if you received it, Cynthia, we finalized the document, and I sent it to Stillwater's supervisor and also their attorney. So it incorporates everything that we talked about last week. And, you know, the bottom line here is what you articulated. We're going to bill Malta for O&M, water use, consumption. We're going to bill the residents quarterly. If they don't pay, then we're going to let Stillwater know, and then they will put that levy on the tax bill for the Stillwater resident. Then they're going to pay us after they're made whole by the County of Saratoga. The capital charges are all going to be done proportionally, and that's set forth in article or paragraph 14. You know, and it's done by a fraction. The denominator for which is the total assessed the total full value of all properties within Malta and Stillwater receiving water. The numerator is the full value for Stillwater, the full value of their property. And for us, it'll be the full value of our property over the total from both towns. And that's
Yeah, so they'll pay their share of the debt.
their share.
service on an ad valorem basis, like we're gonna bill our residents.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if Malta Water District has future capital improvements, they kick in as well, according to the same formula. That's it.
Comments? Questions? The only other thing that I don't actually have on here that we will also act on is to actually hire the employees. So we're gonna establish some positions. We will, you know, you'll have more information about that, but we are hiring 4 of the current employees of Saratoga Water Services, 3 full-time, 1 part-time. We do need to hire another water operator. We're required by the Department of Health to have 2 licensed operators. We'll have Jean, who will be number 1, and then we're going to actively try to, after we create the positions, we'll actively try to solicit a second water operator to hire, hopefully by October 1st takeover. And, you know, they've got their admin person. There's another full-time employee that we are going to hire as a trainee because he doesn't quite have his licensing. Once he gets his licensing, which he fully anticipates getting, he'll be then, you know, a full-time water administrator, distribution operator. And we are also creating another position for possibly a future employee that we anticipate having to have. So, but that'll be a whole separate resolution, which you don't have yet because we kind of just put it together. So, anything else for Bill?
Okay,
All good? All right, thanks for coming.
you're welcome.
Okay, the next item for discussion is, do I not have something about that? About the signatory thing? Maybe not. As you know, our stormwater management program coordinator, right? Is Floria, and she has, has to evaluate permit reports and things like that, and as it stands now, she brings them to me, and I look at them, and I sign them, but since I am not a stormwater management professional, I really don't know what they are, so we're gonna have a resolution next week to authorize a second signator for the reports and acknowledgements, and if the board agrees, that will be Floria. So I can't imagine anybody's gonna have an objection to that, because it seems to me that she's really the one who should be signing them instead of me. In that same stormwater management vein, there is, Saratoga County has asked us to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with the Cornell Cooperative Extension. Basically, the new regulations for the MS4 communities are sort of complicated, and this agreement is an agreement to share services between Saratoga County, the Cornell Cooperative Extension, and the other MS4 towns in Saratoga County. They've all been diligently working together to try to work on, a permitting process that works for everybody, and so they're already working together, and this is just making the arrangement official. Anybody have any questions about that? Tonight is Intermunicipal Cooperation Night. This one is our animal control officer was called to do some animal control work in the city of Saratoga Springs. And we have an arrangement with the town of Ballston for him is it Ballston that we share services with for animal control?
Yeah.
We don't share services.
It's Milton.
It's Milton, okay. So we have an agreement with Milton so that basically, he goes to Milton and does what animal control does, and then we bill the town of Milton for his time. So we want to do the same thing in the city of Saratoga Springs, which we could bill them and they would pay, except that there's we want to be sure that the city of Saratoga Springs is covering basically the liability. So our town attorney has come up with an intermunicipal cooperation agreement that this is purely draft. We haven't even sent it to the city of Saratoga Springs yet, so, once it goes to them, I thought we'd see if it was, we were okay here with it, and
We did get a chance to send it now to them, but it's just basically to, legalize the arrangement. And, if he gets injured on a call in Saratoga Springs, it's on
their
the
liability.
city, not us. And it also will help in, payment of the bills and whatnot, so. And right now, they don't have a dog warden or dog control officer. They're having trouble finding one, so, we're kind of concerned there's going to be a lot of calls, so we
Right.
want to just formalize the arrangement.
Any questions about that? This basically, I'm going to be asking sort of for an opinion here. Obviously, we're taking on a whole water department. We needed to find room for them. The plan is for them to take over a portion of the old highway garage. Now, you may know, the receiver of taxes is in the old highway garage. So we're going to hopefully move her to the community center. And where she'd go in the community center is the room that currently our maintenance uses. So now we need a place for our maintenance to go temporarily until we figure out long-term space stuff. So we're proposing that we rent basically a temporary office space to go out behind here. So we've got a proposal, and, it seems to be a reasonable proposal. That's basically the rental is $425 per year, I guess $460, because there's a $35, we gotta rent the steps to get into it too. So it'd be $460 a month, the minimum of 1 year, but I think it'll be a year anyway before we really figure out our space needs. The decision that we have to make is, do we want to spend another $1,550 to put skirting around the outside of it so it looks nice? Or not?
How long is this
So-
gonna stay? How long is it gonna stay there?
At least a year, probably more likely 2 years. I don't know if the skirting is, in my opinion, I'm not sure it's worth the money. I mean, hopefully you also all will agree with the,
I gotta backtrack a bit.
okay.
So the tax assessor is going.
No, not the assessor, the receiver of taxes, Candace.
Receiver
Yes.
is now in the old highway,
No, where she is right now, yes.
excuse me?
She is right now, yes.
She is now. Is she taking up that whole area that's towards the eastern
Yeah,
side?
she uses that office. We want to give the office to Jean and whoever they decide to go in there. Move Candace to the community center
Okay,
where Terry's guys are.
yeah.
So Terry and his guys will go
That's
to a
his own
trailer.
place now. That's separate.
He wants more than that. He does, but
Terry wants a castle.
yeah.
Okay,
So if this is,
gotcha.
hopefully, I mean, the water department in the old highway garage would be a permanent move. Hopefully,
Right.
and the receiver of taxes could be, ultimately, I would like to free that room in the community center to be used by the community. But, this is kind of a temporary shuffling to hopefully give everybody a home.
So where are you proposing that maintenance will ultimately wind up at?
What, pardon me?
Where will maintenance ultimately wind up at?
the trailer.
The trailer for now.
Well, that's temporary.
Well, right, but we're
Well-
building, but again, we've only done step one of our facilities evaluation by starting in motion the court. Once a court is built, then we'll decide what to do with the rest. They could conceivably go over there. It's, that, I guess, I'm not proposing anything at this point because I think that's a decision that we as a board got to get together again and talk about facilities for permanent solutions. This is a temporary solution to our constraints. And how temporary, who knows? The temporary buildings over at the county have been there for, 20 years maybe, but no, I'm hoping it won't be that, it won't be like that.
Government doesn't work that fast.
Yeah.
So,
But again, like I say, it's,
Is there not enough room in the old highway garage for both maintenance and water?
there is not. Not even close.
now that's the room that's in the front, and then there's
And part of,
Roger's old office, and then there's office.
Roger's still in his office, so Roger will be there. The water department will occupy the other office and part of the break room that's there.
So Roger's still in his
Right,
old
yeah.
office?
So,
So you're foreseeing that the final solution to maintenance is whatever new building or extensions we do here at the town hall?
again, that's a decision that I don't think we can.
I don't
make
think we're at the
fly here.
final,
We're not
we're
there
at the
yet.
final, we're just trying to put these
Right.
guys,
Right.
get them
One step at a
started.
time.
Right. No,
And I don't think until we get the court and start reevaluate again our space.
Well, to answer your question, I don't think it needs a skirt.
I'll agree with you, it's temporary.
Okay. No skirt. Okay.
That's
any-
a first
Any
day.
other comments, discussion?
Not now.
Next, we will be renewing our fire hydrant rental agreement with the Clifton Park Water Authority. Basically, it's just an annual thing where our rates, of course, go up every year, so this is a contract that ends in 2029 with an escalator. Roger has any questions on that, comments? Hydrant rental? Roger got to the end of the paving season and found out he had more money in his budget. So he has,
He's giving it back?
nope, he's not giving it back, he's gonna pave more roads. So he's proposing, he's asking for an amendment to his 284 agreement with the town. The 284 agreement is the agreement between the town of Malta and the highway superintendent. We give him money and he tells us what he's gonna do with it. And so now he's got money left over, so he is going to pave Edith Lane and Little Drive. Those are the two additions, right? So assuming we agree to that, we'll sign this amendment next week. Any questions? Any questions for Roger on that? This also was kind of a late addition to the agenda. The town of Malta has had an agreement with the Boston Spa School District when we are served with an Article 7, which is businesses that, or anybody, I guess, who doesn't like their final value assessment, they then, go take legal action to have it possibly reduced. In the past, the Boston Spa Central School District has always shared the cost of that, our attorney's fees.
We share.
Oh, no, it's our expense. They agree to share with us. If we get sued and go to court and defend it, we're obligated to pay those fees. But because the biggest benefit is for the school district and they want us to defend that role, they agree to pay half of those legal fees. This year, there are 2 that are live ones. One of them is 100 State Farm Place, which is the big building in State Farm. They have it valued, I don't know what Ellsworth is, but she has that valued at 25 million. They're asking for 15 million. The other one is Ellsworth, and I think she did tell me. Ellsworth, they are assessed at 47 million, and they're requesting a reduction of 36 million. So obviously, that's a lot of money to the school district, so it's also in their best interest for us to defend those.
Somebody's got to make that money up.
Yeah, we are, we have no reason to believe that the school district is not going to agree. They always have in the past, so this next agreement is just to, put that in writing. So it hasn't been presented, again, we haven't presented it to the school district yet, but,
Yeah, we just want to get it in front of you to make sure you're good with it,
right.
so we can get it over there, because they have meetings like us with budget and otherwise, so they can approve it as well.
So, to me, there's no reason not to, but anybody else? Anything? All good? The I think my last item here, let's see, no, 2 more things, is to establish to refile the established retirement standard workday and reporting for elected and appointed officials. We did this before. There was some administrative issue that the state kicked it back to us. So we fixed that administrative mistake, which I'm not even sure what it was, and we're gonna try to send it back in again. So it's really just a reapplication. Last thing on our agenda is we need to reappoint one of the members of the Board of Assessment Review for a 5-year term. They serve 5-year terms. Anything else? Any other comments from the public?
I got one from the board.
Oh, okay.
This goes to you, Roger. In your tenure as the Highway Department elected official, how many stop signs have you erected for the town of Malta? Without being not knocked over, I'm just saying from an original request. And those board members' requests came to you in what form? Just word of mouth, or was that on form? Resolution, was that stops?
The stop sign, I think, on Hudson Court, when I took over board resolution to do the stop signs on Raylansky Road and Evans Road.
Was there a transportation department signature sign off on those installments of the stop signs?
I don't believe so.
This is whatever the board decides.
Well, that's what's my big dilemma is because I read the manual, and the safety study referred to us to read the manual and go on. That's just why I'm a little confused of, how this process is, and word of mouth, with a document, and who's the police to stop us from putting up a stop sign. If I knew all those questions, I'd be Department of Transportation.
If you accept his study and you want to do what you want to do out of his study, then you make a resolution to have me do the work.
Well, it's not a study, it's an audit.
Okay.
That's the whole problem. It's not a traffic study.
That's usually how it works.
So those two stop signs, right, I know it's tedious, was a was a traffic study done on those two requests? Do you know of?
The one on Evans Road, the supervisor at the time did not want to do a safety study. So it was a board request.
Okay.
The one on Hudson Court, I think that was just a board resolution too.
Yeah, I don't think there was ever any study for the Evans.
It's an intersecting road, it's a dead-end cul-de-sac that never had a stop sign.
I'm just trying to find prior examples and honestly, get the right procedure down so we could fast track, because this ain't gonna be the only one, which I understand, because we're building like crazy around here. All right, thank you.
You know, I think the way they do that is like, you can't,
No, this criteria,
I can't just go up and throw a stop sign because I don't like somebody there, and make them stop every day.
no, the safety audit referenced the criteria that it met within the manual. Now, I'm just trying to find out if the safety audit that referenced the criteria to get that is good enough. If it's good enough, let's go. If it's not, I need someone to say it's not. That's, because getting the Department of Transportation on the phone ain't easy.
I'll tell you the truth, the engineer should be giving you the answer.
Yeah,
Yes, we've asked for that.
I think we'll get an answer from him, so.
Yeah, we asked tonight. I think he'll get right on it.
Right. So if there's no other comments from the public, one reminder is that next Monday is Labor Day, so we will not be meeting. The next town board meeting, our business meeting will be on September 9th at 6 PM. And soon, the 2025 budget meeting schedule will be announced, and all of those meetings are open to the public. And I am going to request that we go into attorney-client privilege to discuss a pending litigation.
So moved.
I will say that we will not be conducting any of the business tonight, so we won't come back into open session tonight and do anything that you won't know about. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks a lot, everybody.